Wunderkind's known for being the world's largest identity network of consumer devices. And brands today lean on us to pipe that intelligence and AI decisioning into the platforms where they do work. So I flew from Colorado to Boca Raton, Florida, the home of the brand Salt Life. And today I'm meeting with Damon Sloane, who's the VP of e-commerce and digital marketing at Thread Collective, which is the operator of the brand Salt Life. And if you don't know who Salt Life is, let me school you. Well, the brand started as a sticker company. You've seen their stickers on cars and trucks everywhere, and then it became a lifestyle apparel brand. Think hats, sunglasses, t-shirts, shorts, and everything in between. So anglers, beach bums, and surfers all over, they know this brand. So they were founded in Florida. I had to find an Airbnb to do this interview that had some pizzazz and kind of matched the brand qualities. What do you think of this? Well, I nailed the location and Damon's gonna be here any minute. We're gonna talk about how Wunderkind is powering that identity and intelligence into the Shopify Klaviyo ecosystem for Salt Life and driving real revenue. But first, I need to get dressed for the occasion. Yeah, now I'm living the Salt Life. Let's get into it. Well, Damon, thanks for meeting me at my crash pad here in Florida. I'm looking forward to this interview, man. But first, tell us about you, your role, Thread Collective, and then we'll get into Salt Life.
Thanks for having me. So I'm Damon Sloane. I'm the VP of e-commerce and digital marketing at Thread Collective. We're a licensee and the operator of saltlife.com.
And tell me, like Salt Life, I know Salt Life. I grew up on the East Coast. I went to the Jersey Shore my whole life. And the last few years, all my brother-in-laws, my cousins, everybody's into it. But explain, what is Salt Life to those who might not know?
Salt Life, it's a lifestyle brand born and bred here in Florida. Everyone recognizes it from the stickers that you see on the back of everyone's truck. So you got that kind of that iconic Salt Life logo as stickers and decals for people to buy to put on their surfboards, on the back of their truck. And that was literally all they sold. So it started from there. It became iconic, not just in Florida, but all over the US, and has now grown into basically a complete lifestyle brand. So if you're into fishing, surfing, diving, Salt Life has got you covered.
And where do people find it? You've got some retail locations, you're online, like where are the channels you're working in?
We've just opened another retail location. There's one back up here in Florida. Obviously, you'll find everything at saltlife.com. But then in any good retailer, if you're on vacation somewhere here on the East Coast, even on the West Coast, you'll be able to find Salt Life.
Love it. Let's talk about your technology stack. You put Salt Life on a Shopify Klaviyo partner platform.
Yep.
What was really important to you when thinking about getting into those platforms? What do they do for you when they're combined together?
Look, these two for now, I feel it's just table stakes. We are all in with Shopify. These types of platforms and the combination of them, it allows the business to take control of the brands. We spend less time thinking about integrations and how data flows and things like that because now it just works. And so for us, it's a no-brainer to be working with partners like Shopify and Klaviyo.
So before partnering with Wunderkind, what problems were you trying to solve for in your Klaviyo Shopify ecosystem?
Really driving qualified traffic. So, and kind of doing it in a way where you're not just blowing your brains out on media spend, which is what most people tend to do now, looking at communication channels that unfortunately are just kind of dying because we weren't able to really get the value of knowing who the customer was and what they needed at a certain time. So it was really, it's about, I guess, two areas. It's getting the full value of the traffic that you're spending a lot of money to drive to the site. But it's then also about getting the value out of how can I use my database of customers and have an understanding of what they're doing, what they're looking for, and then how can I communicate with them in a way that just feels natural. That I'm not stalking them around the internet. I'm just kind of interacting with them in real time based on what they're looking for.
Now, once you get your traffic flow, growing and that problem figured out, a lot of that, 95% of brands find that their traffic is going to be anonymous to them. They just don't know who they are. They don't know that device, and which is our sweet spot at Wunderkind. This is, multiple brands you've brought to Wunderkind. Why did you bring Wunderkind right into the Salt Life brand?
So yeah, full transparency, third time around with Wunderkind. So I've seen it up close and personal before. But this time around, I knew the results it would drive. So we're looking at the traffic, we're looking at the flows that we already have set up in Klaviyo. Yeah. Maybe not all of them, but a bunch of them, and just seeing that they're just driving a tiny percent of revenue. And that even if we had put time and effort into building flows and journeys, we couldn't really activate them because we just didn't know who was on the site or what they were doing. And so I think that was just the biggest thing. We know the traffic's there. We know there's all this activity happening, but then when there's this divide where we look at, well, what's happening with the flows and the journeys, and there's just a huge gap in the traffic and activity, and then what we can actually execute on.
Now, these platforms like Klaviyo and other ESPs and, marketing platforms, they all have some sort of identity solution, right? Baked in. But a lot of people don't understand, a lot of marketers don't understand that the ESP or CDP or whatever you're using can't solve for all of it. So how would you describe that to somebody that doesn't understand the power of a true identity network like Wunderkind has, right? 9 billion devices, 2 trillion, digital transactions observed. How do you equate that on top of a Klaviyo platform to bring that lift?
I'd say it's kind of magic dust that you could just kind of sprinkling on, but it really is, because these other identity networks usually require some kind of action from the customer to then trigger that. Okay, we know who that is now. But if you think about it, 95% of the actions that someone performs on a website, they're not giving you that information. They're not logging in. They're not signing into a loyalty program. They're not doing the things that you might need to identify who it is. So when I say that magic dust, it's more that we don't actually have to do anything. We just get them to the site, and then Wunderkind kind of takes over and identifies them for us in the background.
You've talked about working with Wunderkind for many years, even before the pandemic. Today's state, our mantra is integrate. We want marketers like you to be able to work where they already work. So you're in Klaviyo, you're in Shopify. Can you talk about the evolution or what it feels like today, just simply plugging Wunderkind into your ecosystem and it just working, the magic dust?
Yeah, so obviously a lot has changed in that time. And so the ability to work with partners like Shopify and Klaviyo now, we know things just work. Yeah. Previously, it kind of felt like everything had to be custom built. Everything was a big deal that took a roadmap and project managers and months of integration and development work. And that was my experience in the past. So this time around, the one difference, when I reached out to Wunderkind, was really like, hey, but are you working with Shopify and Klaviyo now? Because if you're not, we're going to have to break up.
Sure.
And
Understood.
so that was the big difference. It was like, if you're not even there working with these platforms, we don't even want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. What did integration actually look like? Like, can you take me through that process? Was it weeks? Was it cumbersome? Was it multiple people?
Not at all. If I remember correctly, we were talking 8 weeks of work from start to finish, to having all of the integration done, the flows built out. The team kind of just showed up with a plan. I don't want to call it cookie cutter, but it kind of was, where it was like, well, we know the platforms that you're working with. Here's the project plan. It's weeks, not months. If anything, it's us who are going to slow it down. And so it ran very smoothly. We we basically gave the go ahead, and then we just had to come back when it was time to really test and deploy the solution.
That's great. That has been our focus. Integrate directly into the platforms where you work through our signals feed, all the power of the identity. It's great to hear that it went really smooth for you. So you decided on Shopify Klaviyo. Was there any hesitation on the rest of your team or leadership to go, why are we adding a new layer on top of this? Like, what was your thought process there on how to convince people that Wunderkind was the right layer to bring into that stack?
Money talks. So, when I could recognize, like, yes, we have these flows. No, Wunderkind is not an ESP. But when we looked at the revenue being generated by these flows and these journeys being very minimal, it was like, well, this is how we're going to supercharge that. So was there pushback? Not really. I think I've I'm a good enough salesperson of Wunderkind myself now to be able to sell it internally, to convince people that once we get this up and running, this is just going to be kind of happening behind the scenes, isn't going to disrupt the brand, isn't going to require much maintenance from us, but we're going to see significant revenue coming through this channel.
How should other marketers be thinking about Wunderkind and its impact? How should they measure the success of it? Is it incremental revenue? Is it conversion from anonymous traffic to known? How do you explain what a metric should be against Wunderkind?
Yeah, I don't want to keep bringing it back to revenue, but it's revenue, right? That's what we're all trying to do. But I think it kind of changes the way you can look at some of your marketing mix from an operational perspective. It allowed us to really, instead of, let's say, email and SMS as a channel, typically batch and blast, maybe a little bit of kind of segmentation here and there, but it's still done kind of somewhat blindly. So this allowed us to really check a lot of boxes in all of these personalized communication flows that are kind of based in, in real-time triggers. So we could kind of reduce the amount of batch and blast emails and SMSs that we're doing on the side, make those really focused and important for the brand, because Wunderkind takes care of all of those real-time triggers, the customization, whether it's, the basics like cart abandonment, the browse abandonment, but even just the low in stock alerts, things like that, changed the way that we kind of looked at our whole communication channel. And then on top of that, what we started to recognize that, again, all this money that we're spending to drive traffic through paid search and social, you're still only converting at a really small rate, so it's very expensive. This was kind of driving incremental revenue from the traffic that we were driving through those channels as well. So all in all, kind of lifted up everything that we were doing.
Okay, so integration went really well. It was
Yep.
pretty quick for you, pretty seamless, matter of weeks, and you even said you were probably slowing the process down, if anything. How is your day-to-day now that you're fully integrated up and operational? How do you lean on Wunderkind and the professional services team for any needs?
I don't even know that they're there, and in the best way possible, because things have just been running so smoothly. We haven't come across any issues. We're still proactive with okay, what's next? What more can we do? What tweaks can we make to some of the flows? But I find that they come to us with recommendations, things that they want to test that we hadn't even thought of. So when I say, we don't even know that they're there, it's because I'm not having to chase them. I'm not having to follow up. The team is proactive in what they want to do. Once they kind of, even they've got their hands on the data now and they see things that we wouldn't. So it's been great.
All right, so let's get to the meat of this. Results, you said it. Revenue, talks, that's really what we're talking about. Can you tell me just at a high level, what was the impact once this was up and running inside your Klaviyo Shopify environment?
Yeah, now we're talking money.
Yeah.
I think, within just a couple of months of having this solution live, we had driven around $100,000 in what we consider to be incremental revenue. That for us was almost a 300% increase in those channels that were mostly existing, not all the flows we were able to do, but it was just phenomenal. There was things that we expected to see. So, again, just kind of putting your cart abandon, your browse abandon on steroids.
Yep.
So we were always making money. That was where we saw the biggest lift, actually, because now we knew who was doing what at those stages and could really target them around exactly what they were looking at. Was it discount driven? Was it product driven? But there was surprises too along the way. I think I mentioned before, but even just having a trigger and a flow for a low stock alert, which sounds pretty basic, but before we couldn't do that really in any meaningful way without the identity from Wunderkind, because now we could basically just, you're not going to send a huge email to your database saying this product is low in stock.
Sure, it's a one-off blast, who knows, yeah.
But when you know that, well, there's a small segment of people who've been looking at this product and interacting with it, you should let them know it's not even discount driven, just that it's low in stock. Even that was just kind of, I think that was our second best performing flow, which we just didn't expect at all. it's been great.
You and I talked a little bit about personalization before we started rolling cameras, and that is, yeah, it's not like true personalization, but yes, if I've looked at something, I'm on the fence, to have that low in stock or back in stock kind of trigger always on, to your point, you don't need the batch and blast. You don't need to eat up, that one big time inbox surge. You can literally do it at an individual level in near real time.
Yeah, I kind of see that as passive personalization.
Yeah, that's a good way to call it.
Yeah, we don't know the person and what time they wake up in the morning, and here's the best T-shirt to show them. But just to know that we're trying to listen, and we're trying to communicate with you in a way that makes sense to you. Yeah. I think customers appreciate that.
And that's a huge difference if you break that down. Personalization, I think for years, if I put my B2C marketing hat back on, for years we were trying to know so much about you so that we could literally personalize our offer when we were the greedy marketer, needed some revenue. We're like, well, we know a lot about Tim, so we're going to send this to him, and we know his size, and we know his favorite color, and this and that. But personalization in these days really is about intent signals. So if I looked at this shirt, which I looked at online and bought online, if I looked at this, and then the next day you told me it was low in stock, that's a meaningful signal, and that's a meaningful message to me that doesn't need my name, doesn't need to remind me of my favorite color. It's the intent that I had shown on your website.
Yep, that's good. The intent and the signals, as you put it, that's a great way of looking at it, because just because you did something in the past or you bought something in the past, that doesn't kind of immediately tell us what you're going to do in the future.
Yeah.
But your intent and your signals may give us a bit of a clue. So that's a nice way of putting it.
In the age of AI needs data to actually do anything, right? AI is an engine that gobbles up data. Do you have a religion or a point of view on the importance of identity and the context a company like Wunderkind can bring to your stack so that the Klaviyo, Shopifys, and these platforms that have all these AI components to be able to make decisions in real time and create opportunities? How important is that identity layer to feed that AI engine?
It's critical. Without it, it's just it's almost AI slop that we're putting all over the websites. So, websites now are pretty much commoditized. It can be a great experience, but it's still a standard experience for every single customer who comes to the website.
Yep.
So it would be amazing to kind of identify someone and really just give them a personalized view into your storefront that is for them, that is based on their history, but also their intent and their signals. So taking the identity, but also maybe what Wunderkind is doing from a communication perspective, and applying that to maybe how we kind of showcase the creative, the merchandising on the site to the customer would be the dream.
You shared that implementation was very quick. You shared that our professional services team is there if you need them, but really, in the initial setup, we're piping all of our value right in. What other value are we bringing by having Wunderkind as a partner? Is it time saving? Is it just relief? Is it confidence? Like, how do you think about Wunderkind as a partner in your stack?
Confidence was what came to mind for me. We're confident. We know they're there. We know they've got our back. We know that they're going to call out things that we wouldn't have even seen. So just the confidence of knowing that they're there doing their job 24/7 allows us to then focus on other things. It's not a partnership or a vendor that we feel we have to manage and we have to check up on them and make sure they're doing what they say they were going to do. It's not that at all. If anything, we have to say, hey, we can't do these things as fast as the ideas that you're coming up with. So it really comes down to confidence, allowing us to then focus on other things that make sense to us.
It makes total sense. And that's the blend of our mantra here at Wunderkind. We're AI, but humans in the loop, right? Our humans are always looking at the AI insights that we're deriving, that we're suggesting to you, and we totally understand. You've got a workload, can't always implement our greatest ideas, but hopefully we chip away and get them in there.
Keep trying.
Keep trying. Let's talk to brands right now sitting there watching this going, yeah, I don't know. My ESP has identity layer. They have these triggers. They have abandoned cart, etc. I don't really think I need this extra layer and extra cost. What would you say to them if I hired you on the sales team today?
I would say, why wait? Get a test happening now. Every day you waste without testing this, you're leaving money on the table. And so that will be the ultimate thing that convinces these brands. But you're not going to see that unless you test it. It's really easy to get a test up and running. And then, you know, it's the proof is in the pudding. You'll see if it's going to work for you or not. I think 99 times out of 100, it's going to work for them.
That's fair. Let's do a proof of concept. Call us.